come again to decisions. We already have a resource person in the house. We have Mr. Benga Laifa. He's a relationship coach from Port Harcourt. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And we also have a very exciting lady, Pastor Shion Adakaza. She is Pastor Salt City Church. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here, ma'am. So we are seeing the issue on ground. We're seeing what is going on with Excelsa and Obina. Now, sir, do you think that as Christians, should we have any fear in taking traditional positions or chieftaincy title?
Honestly speaking, I don't think there's any bad thing in that. It all depends on, do you have the required wherewithal for you to take up the challenge and the responsibilities and possibly the consequences that come after it. Looking at what you have just said, it's not a bad thing for a Christian to decide to take up roles or titles, provided your intentions are in the course. So it's really not a bad thing.
You just said that if the person will be able to take up the challenges. So what are the possible challenges there?
Obviously, in Nigerian context, several traditional titles or traditional roles come up with a lot of challenges. You need to start from scratch. You need to be able to convince the people who are the sole followers. You need to be able to convince them of your intentions. There must be clear communication. In the course of doing that, there are several stages that are involved. So, I said earlier that provided you have the required wherewithal, you can actually take up such roles, provided you have the required wherewithal and your intentions are in your course.
Okay, so Pastor Sean, do you think it's very possible?
Well, like you said, I don't see anything wrong with Christians taking up traditional roles. The only challenge is when you go there with the expectation that as a Christian you will be accepted in the way that they will accept one of their own. Because, some of these things come with a lot of traditional rights, they come with a lot of compromises. So you being there means that you have to be able to say no to certain things. And that is going to pose it. You can't go there blindsided. You can't go there thinking this is going to come easy. So there are going to be a lot of compromises that you will not make as a Christian. It's going to come with this one. The Bible says in Ezekiel 22, it says, I sought for myself a man who will stand in gap for these people, but I found none. So God is looking for people, or a man who will rise up and stand and lead these people in this, this so-called, darkness or anything. There has to be a Christian who will stand in gap.
So during the whole thing, the traditional rites, the rituals, the guys from an Igbo community, and we know their rituals are many. Do you think his faith would not be shaped a little? Do you think he would be able to overcome?
Every day our faith is tested. Every day, in every scenario, in every challenge. So there is no how you would want to sit upon or you would want to be king in a place where you have the princes of this world or people who are guided by the traditions of the princes of this world, and you will not have, your faith will not be tested. So that's why your faith will be tested. It's not a question at all.
So now his reasons for wanting to take the leadership is because he wants to bring Christ into the kingdom. How achievable is that? Do you think he can actually achieve that?
Yes, he should be able to. In as much as the guy in question has the spiritual soundness, as Pastor Sean rightly said, it requires a whole lot of things are involved. If he has what it is, and first to start with, in as much as he is convinced within himself that he has the leading of the Holy Spirit, it is one thing for you to have a divine assignment to go into this village to take up such role. Another thing is for you just to decide to do it for personal gain or for self-aggrandizement. So if he's convinced he has the divine assignment to go into the village and take up such role, it is not a bad thing. He is going to succeed because the Holy Spirit who has sent him on the errand will definitely not leave him halfway. He will ensure that he sees him through.
So, Pastor Sean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, but yeah, might also add that when you are led to a place or when you're led to a thing, you constantly have to trust the person who's leading you to give you further instructions. Because there's a tendency to get carried away when you enter into a space like that.
Yes.
And you say it's not such a large compromise. It's just to wear the feather here. It's just to tie the feather under my waist. So you have to constantly make sure that yes, you have been led. It was like just when God said, Abraham, go and kill your son. And then he says, I've been led already, I'm not hearing anything again. He would not have ever when God said, okay, well, no more killing Isaac.
Yeah.
So you have to be in constant touch, which is why you cannot afford to have any issues with your wife at this moment. Because the Bible says two will put 10,000 to flight. This is the person you're supposed to do life with. This person you're supposed to carry along. You cannot change it just by your own doing and by your own thinkings and strategy. Yeah, she has to also be involved in whatever it is you're doing. Nobody does those things alone.
Okay, now let's come to the wife aspect. She has to be involved. But right now, Obinna actually promised that he was not going to take any chieftaincy title. Now expectation has been cut off. In one way or the other, trust has been broken. So at that moment, what do you do? Now, Pastor just said she has to be involved in the whole process, but she's already in that space where she doesn't even know what to do. So at that particular time, how do you get to cope with the whole situation?
Okay. I understand that when you need to prioritize everything, and there must be a hierarchical order. After God, it is your marriage. Then your assignment comes third. So if the man in question, the guy, has been able to understand that, yes, I have God I must have, he must also be able to understand that I have my marriage to protect. If you have a failed marriage, you have a failed career. If you have a failed marriage, your assignment has failed by default. So it is important for him to be able to explain to his wife in clear terms, honey, this is the situation. Yes, we never bargained for this. I never expected it. But it is a divine assignment that I need to fulfill on earth. And they will join hands together, and I believe it's going to be a win.
So, alright, so we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we'll hear Pastor Sean's view on that. So stay with us as we just go on a short break. Thank you. Welcome back to Decisions. If you're just joining us, we'll be talking about chieftaincy titles, Christianity, broken trust in marriages, and our research person have been doing a lot of wonderful job on that. And before we let Pastor Sean, we are talking about expectation in marriage. Now, you are a lady, and the expectation comes from lady most of the time. We all have your expectation. So what happens? How do you cope with broken trust, broken expectations?
Okay, I link it to a personal experience, and I put myself in her shoes. Truth is, there are a lot of things my husband said we will not do when we got married. Now, I'm not saying that is good, but one of the things that frustrates marriage is inability to cope with change. Because these men are still human. They'll probably say anything to marry you, but then when they marry you and then something is constant in marriage, it's change, and that's one thing we must quickly deal with. I remember my husband sent me one very nice love email saying how we're supposed to go to Ghana on the road trip. So some days ago, this is a while back, I was looking through my old my archives, and I saw the mail, and I said, babe, did you see this mail that you sent me? And I said, is it me that sent that one to you? Yeah. But I must say that the truth is, men will say a lot of I don't, I will not, I shall, I will never, and then when marriage comes, things will change. Now, for a Sosa, we must be ready to adjust and adapt very quickly, because in the space of you thinking about all the but he said, a lot of things are already going wrong. So if this person has already come to say, oh, God said that we're doing this, it's for you to go to the place of prayer, with your frustrations, that is, and say, God, this is where we are on this marriage thing. You cannot sit back. The Bible says a wise woman builds a home. The Bible did not say a wise man built his home. It's an interesting scripture. It's the woman. So you first of all go to God in prayer and look for a way to catch the husband when he, the smallest time that you can catch him. It's busy at that time, but you must catch him. Communication, marriage is communication. Marriage is doing things together. So when those things start to slip, there is a problem. Everybody wants to do things before marriage, but when marriage comes and things happen, you must adjust to change.
Okay. Right. So we're talking about getting not compromising when it comes to taking the traditional right. Now, do you think there are some specific things that we shouldn't do concerning the right? Now, some Christians will say it's just normal. After it, we could just go back to being Christian and restoring the community. Now, are there some do's and don'ts that should take place during those periods?
Okay. I believe in life for anybody who wants to succeed in any career or any assignment, you must follow the ABCD principle. How do I mean? There are some things that you must do. There are some things that you should do. There are some things that are nice to do, but not compulsory. There are some things that you need to delegate, while there is those that you need to exterminate. There is no need for you to do them. As a Christian taking up such chieftaincy or kingship role should understand that on no account should he compromise his Christian faith or his Christian standard. The sacrifices, all the abominable acts, the essence of you being sent to the rural area or to the village is for you to change the way they are doing things. If the Old Testament was complete and perfect, there wouldn't have been a need for the New Testament. So definitely you know that there are some specific things that you need to change. You go in there as, so to speak, as a born-again Christian who has the intention of changing the way things have been done. You want to change the people's orientation, you want to change their experiences, you want to change a whole lot of things. Although it is a gradual process, but you should know that you must not compromise your standard. You must not compromise your standard.
So, Pastor Shane, there's no, let me just do this thing a little bit. Let me just go to them, to the goddess. None at all.
The thing is, when you take a position like that, what you're doing is you're taking a position where you stand before a people, before God. What do I mean? It means that you are representing a people. You must be able to take them like to God, especially because they don't even know that before they get to the place where they are standing individually. You must get to a place where you are the one who's standing for them. Now you must, like he said, there are things that you cannot compromise on. There are things that compromise is it's like an ocean. You can't tell to which end one starts and to which end one stops begins. So which is why from the beginning you need to begin to set some things in place. There are people who go there and say, I don't have a problem with this because it's not going to bring any harm to me. But you must understand the consequences of those things you're doing, particularly with the people around you, which is why you need wisdom. Yeah. Wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom tells you this is what I can do and this is what I can't.
Now, for this traditional rites, definitely before the guy gets to the village, there are some traditions where it involves the people already making some sacrifice on behalf of him, using his name. In that aspect, do you think there are consequences will have to be on the guy, or it's not going to affect him?
Okay, that's a really dicey question. But I think that when you come to a place where you are the one who is leading people, when you come to realize that some of these things will happen, you don't have, maybe, and at that point you're not king yet, so you don't have that much power over what the people cannot do. But you must let them know, state it there. You cannot control them. You must let them know that this is not on my behalf.
Okay.
This is not on my behalf. You must let them know that. However, you cannot control what they do, but you must let it be stated already.
Yeah. So, do you think there are any spiritual consequences to those sacrifice or rituals that they would perform on behalf of him?
Sacrifices made on your behalf with your name, directly or indirectly, you are the one doing it. So if you are not going to subscribe to such, there would always be a better way of doing it. Don't forget, we said earlier on that you are coming on board to change people's perspective, to change their orientation. Back in the days, I remember there was a subject we treated in a topic we treated in mathematics, substitution by elimination. If you are changing the one thing they are doing, you as the leader, as someone coming on board, you need to give them better ideas to replace the one you are eliminating, such that they would also understand that, provided they see the results, they will align, they will follow. So any sacrifice made on your behalf or with your name, I think indirectly you are still the one committing such thing.
And the spiritual consequences.
Sorry to interrupt you, but may I add that as Christians, we must never operate from the place of fear. Fear must never be the underlining. There are things that our mothers have done in our day. There are things that our mother-in-laws or our fathers-in-law or our own spirit. My grandmother woke up one morning and told us that I must let people know, you know them, we didn't know anything, we put our hands in all sorts of things. People will do things on your behalf, and everything has spiritual implications and consequences, every action. However, we must never operate from a place of fear. We have a new covenant for a reason, so that we can declare and so that we can decree and so that we can set things in order and in motion. So it must never be that fear is leading us to say, hey, so that my children will not die. No. As a king, you cannot even walk in fear and lead the people. I can tell you my grandmother, I can even tell you things that she will say she has done. But does that make me now go and kill her or go and say, how could you? Do you understand? But it must also mean that I must be in a good place spiritually, where I'm sensitive and I understand the things that I need to do.
So now, let's look at it this way. Does Obi have to be a king to actually bring Christianity into the kingdom? Can't he just be a normal, after he's also the crown prince, if he rejects the crown, can he also bring Christianity without taking the traditional rulership?
Okay, it's not compulsory that you be the king before you lead the people or before you introduce Christ to them. But we should understand one fact. This guy is acting based on divine assignments. So it is based on that he wants to use that kingship platform to introduce Christ to them. But it is not compulsory that you be a king or a chief before you can lead the people, before you can direct the people into the right path.
Okay, so in addition to this, I think that when somebody gives you a work to do, you must ask them, how do I do it? When God says, go to this land and be the king there, you must ask God, how do I be a king here? That's the only way.
So we have been talking about from the man's side. Now let's go to the man's side. She's new to this thing. She's married to. She's now going to be married to a king, and attention will be divided. She might not get the time for the guy. The guy might not have the time for her all the time. Now, personally, you are married to a pastor, so I guess you understand the tribes and everything. So when you're married to a public figure, how do you cope? Where do you draw the line within our personal space and everybody's time?
Okay, number one, communication is very important. For every time there's a change in the sphere of our marriage, communication is needed. For example, if my husband wakes up one morning and starts traveling, he doesn't just do that. We understand why we're traveling in this season. We understand why the travels are going to be a lot more. We understand why, for example, I'm not going to cook a lot in this season. We understand why, for example, we're not going to eat a lot of homemade meals in this season. There has to be communication. That's what will make us adjust. Because marriage is not, we must understand that marriage is not one way. Marriage is like you will enter different junctions where things will change. So when we're not communicating the change in our seasons, we will never be able to adjust to it. So
from Esosa's view, now it's been 4 months they've been in the village, and the guy has not had any time for her. So there's no any moment to communicate. So without actually the guy talking with her, at that moment, what does she have to do? What should she do?
Number one, you pray. Number two, you will look for the time that you think you don't have. Yes, you must find it. It's your marriage. It's your home. nobody will build it for you if you don't. So pray, look for time, and look for a person to talk to your husband who you know that he listens to.
It's not just the men that are public figure. We see cases where the lady is the one that is a public figure, and the man is just there, basically not doing anything. So at that moment, what would you say to the guys, to the men that are married and their wife are public figure? How do they cope with this issue?
The first thing I would say is this: if you happen to fall into that category, your wife is the public figure while you're the one on the other side, understand and appreciate her personality. Don't feel jealous. Don't feel intimidated. Two things are key in marriage, as Pastor Chenos has rightly said. You must understand who you marry and communication, constant communication. So if you happen to be in that category as a man, it's not a big deal. If women are taking it very well and heavens have not fallen because of that, I really don't see any need for any man not to be able to adjust. It is just what has commanded you. You've got to align and continue. Your marriage is your marriage, regardless of the political, social, or financial status of the woman. Your marriage is your marriage, and you must do everything to protect your marriage.
Right. So now, Esusa is here. She's going to become a queen. She's going to. A lot of things are going to happen. And what advice do you have to give to her on how to cope with this royal life, with this new perspective of change that's just come about? How does she have to cope with it?
Okay, well, my advice, I don't know if it matters much to her because she's the one who understands that space. But the first thing is understand the place you're going into. That's not the season to fight anything or fight anybody. It's the season to sit, watch, learn, observe, and ask the Holy Spirit to open your eyes to see things. For example, let me tell you what light does. I'll be very brief. Light does not only, direct us. If there was no light in this room, we would not know where to sit on. Light tells you, okay, this is chair, this is where we sit. Okay, this is a table, we don't sit here. So light shows you the people who will help you in this season. Light shows you who the people you should run away from in this season. Light shows you the people you don't really need. So just ask God for the eyes of your understanding to be open, to be brightened up, to see the people around you, to know where to run to know who will talk to your husband, to know how to talk to your husband, to know what time of the day to catch him. Nobody is busy 24 hours. That's what I know. I know nobody is busy 24 hours. Okay?
Right. So for the guy now, a lot of things are going to come in. So what advice do you give to the guy and also to Esusa on how to cope with this change and everything?
Since there is a new thing on board, he needs to look after his marriage. His marriage is important to him, to the two of them. However, the assignment that he has at hand, he also needs to do everything to ensure that he does not fail. The two of them first need to identify the best way of communicating, the best time for them to be together as couple, so that they can discuss salient and prominent issues. As she had rightly said, you are not busy 24 hours. You must be able to at least create 1 hour, 2 hours out of the entire 24 hours for you and your wife. So the two of them just need to find a way of communicating. They should have an agreed time that they would be together. And if anything is going to change that, there would always be a need for either of the parties to communicate, so that it doesn't end up as, oh, he has broken my heart again, and the whole thing turns otherwise.
Thank you so much. It's been a lovely time having you in the studio. So you have communication is actually the key. You have to communicate between your spouse in anywhere you find yourself. So if you have any questions, any comments, and any contribution, you could just go into our social media page on the screen. And if you also want us to track some issues, you could send email to us, or you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy yourself with us. I still enjoy being in it. See you next time.
I don't know what it is. the sky.